what should happen with migrants who are here illegally who are charged with a crime. And one country gave us an option. Let's talk about this option. Is this option a good one or a bad one? Y'all let me know in the comments, good or bad.
On Secretary of State Marco Rubio's whirlwind tour of Latin America, a potentially unprecedented offer from the president of El Salvador.
He has agreed to accept for deportation any illegal alien in the United States who is a criminal from any nationality, be they MS-13 or Tren de Aragua, and house them in his jails.
President Nayib Bukele revealing more in a post on X, offering the U.S., quote, the opportunity to outsource part of its prison system in exchange for a fee. And it's not just for people who are in the U.S. illegally.
He has offered to house in his jail.
All right, so let's talk about this first part of it before we get to the second part of the vehicle. Okay. The president of this foreign country is, and I don't know if y'all been keeping up with the news, but there were some instances where ICE went out and did their thing. They arrested persons who were here illegally, targeting those who were charged with crimes or had a criminal background, and put them on a plane, shot them across to their country, and a couple of their countries was like, nah, bruh, y'all can't land y'all plane here. And as soon as they said that, you seen a little beef where Trump was like, oh, if we can't land that plane there, we're going to tariff the hell out of you and put all these extra taxes and excises on your goods and services that come out of there. And eventually they was like, okay, land your plane here. But the president of this country is saying, hey, you all got a problem. We're willing to take on your problem. And our super max prison facility, I think it holds $40,000. We'll see 40,000 persons. We'll see later on in the video. We'll take any migrant that's convicted or charged with a violent crime that you got, no matter where they're from, and we will house them for a fee. Do you all think that that's generally a good idea or a bad idea? Y'all let me know what y'all think. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. That's funny. A Netflix documentary. It's coming. It's one coming. Y'all let me know. Y'all think that's a good idea or a bad idea? In theory, I think it sounds like a good idea. Okay, we have illegal bad guys who have criminal conduct charges passed, and we want to send them to you all, but send them to this country for a fee. I'm not really a fan of that, because if you were the president of a country, you're the president of the country, and you say, look, DFD, I hold all your bad guys for you, but I'm going to hold them for a small fee. I pay you the fee. I send my bad guys to you. You hold them. Let's say you hold X bad guy A for 10 years. What are you going to do when bad guy A gets out? Are you going to let bad guy A stay in your country? Or are you going to ship his ass back to me or ship him back home? What? I think it sounds like a good idea, but I think it's a bad idea in theory, because I don't like, I mean, the other thing too is like, no, if a person should be accepted by the country that they originated from. And I don't like the idea of being strong armed to pay someone else to house people. That just doesn't make sense to me. I think it's a general bad idea. I agree as well with you, Pretty Eyes. I don't know. I think it's a bad idea. Let me see. I'm a Mexican myself who had an immigrant parent. I don't care if the criminals go, but I do have sympathy for the ones who just want a better life for their kids. But therein lies the problem. I think everybody. I don't care. I think most people want most criminals gone. I don't even give a damn if they from here, if they was born here. If there's a way you could punt out most criminals, people would generally probably be all on board for that. I think. What's going on, Kenneth? I appreciate you tuning in. This is fair too. Hey, this is fair too. It's too many what ifs. That's the big issue for me. But that's a good point. But I agree with that. Therein lies the problem. I think generally everybody like, oh man, if they're a bad person, let's get them out of here. I don't think you're going to try to find a big pushback with that. The problem lies when ICE does a sweep and pick up 30 people, and of the 30 people, 7 of them are bad actors, and then the remaining 23 have been here for 10 years, paying taxes and doing all these other things. And there's no method to flush out the two. There's nobody to say, oh well, okay, this one bad actor, good actor, shit bag, good actor, good actor. So I mean I agree with you. That's kind of what it is. Let's see. It's I don't know. It's interesting. Now let's see what else they're offering. So we got that the president of El Salvador is offering the hose to house to house uh migrants who are here illegally who have criminal past, criminal charges. But let's see what else he's willing to offer. I thought this was interesting.
X, offering the US, quote, the opportunity to outsource part of its prison system in exchange for a fee. And it's not just for people who are in the US illegally.
He has offered to house in his jails dangerous American criminals in custody in our country, including those of US citizenship and legal residence.
So the president of El Salvador was like, not only will we host the bad criminals who are migrants and who are in your country, we will house the criminals who are U.S. citizens who are bad. Now, y'all let me know. I'll tell you, it's illegal, okay? It's illegal. I'm not an expert in international law, but generally, the general rule, I did work at the State Department before, so I'm not unfamiliar, but generally, if a U.S. citizen is incarcerated abroad, it's because they've been charged or convicted with a crime abroad. It's actually crazy illegal, and it sounds wild. Like someone commits homicide here, and we're like, you know what? We're gonna send you over to El Salvador just because we don't even want to deal with you. El Salvador is offering to house U.S. citizens who are convicted of criminal crimes. Completely illegal. Completely illegal. It's probably the most illegal thing ever. But I will tell you, if that was on the table, I feel fairly confident that violent crimes would go down. I think that violent crimes would go down a tick. If a person commits a violent crime, they're going to be housed over in a foreign prison. Man, people will think twice. I mean, people will still do stupid shit, but I think people will think twice. You won't have any access to your family. You won't have any access to link up with persons who may be in the same. You're going to be a sole outlier over there. You're not going to be familiar with the language. Like, crime would decrease exponentially, honestly, in my opinion. Even though it's completely illegal, you can't do it. But I think that's a very interesting take. Let's go and finish watching the rest of the story. Then we're going to chop it up and move
dangerous
on.
American criminals in custody in our country, including those of U.S. citizenship and legal residence. No country's ever made an offer of friendship such as this.
But that offer, especially to take US citizens, raising major concerns.
It's a non-starter to talk about deporting US citizens.
That's
Point
crazy.
blank unlawful.
Unless someone has committed a crime abroad, extensive constitutional and legal protections exist to prevent that in most cases. And for citizens of other countries apprehended here, regulations are still in place.
They have to follow the very strict requirements Congress has laid out, which means an agreement between the US and El Salvador, but also an absolute guarantee that those individuals will be safe in El Salvador from danger, persecution, and torture.
Rubio today acknowledging it's unclear if such an action would be legal.
Obviously, we'll have to study it on our end. There are obviously legalities involved. We have a constitution, we have all sorts of things, but it's a very generous offer.
That offer would put convicted criminals in President Bukele's notorious mega prison, known as the Terrorism Confinement Center. Built by Bukele to house alleged members of gangs that had once helped make El Salvador one of the most.
Could you imagine, like, I do some dumb shit, right? I do some dumb shit as a U.S. citizen, and I go over there, and I be the darkest brother in there, don't know the language. Like crime would decrease exponentially if that was actually on the table. But I don't know. I thought that was an interesting story. I'm generally not a fan of either option. if we start if we start getting rid of bad guys, if we start getting rid of bad guys who are here illegally, who have crimes in their past, and paying another country to take them, to me, that's kind of, I feel like we kind of being punked. Like, why we got to pay y'all when, like, if somebody came over here illegally and committed an assault or a homicide or something like that, like, I don't know. I feel like we would be held hostage and obligated to pay. And once you start paying for one thing, where does that shit ever end? That's kind of my take. Let's see.